There it is. Okay, now we're going.
I was voguing. I was voguing just then.
It's a wrap, episode number 10. Oh, glad you joined us again today. If this is your first time joining us, you're in for a treat. At least I hope it's a treat, right? And if you checked this out before, hey, thanks and welcome back. The other guy in the other square there, his name is John Eaden. I'm David Novak. We are actor, writer, broadcaster, people types, and we just have fun with this thing. It's called It's a Wrap, and this is episode number 10. So, John.
Yes.
What's up with you?
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but I love old trains, especially like O-scale trains, which are a little bit bigger, and they started way, way, way a long time ago, and I used to have them when I was a little kid, and I got really excited because I got lucky the other day, and I bought a box.
You got lucky the other day?
Yeah, in more ways than one. I got the guy was selling a whole box of stuff, had like a couple engines and all this stuff inside of it, and he sent it to me. And most of the stuff that I have is really, really old, and I just love them. And I got excited, and I got the box, and I go, you know what? I'm going to check and see what came in the little thing and what they are. So now I got this engine right here. This is what I got. I got this engine. Yeah.
Is that a Lionel?
They're Lionel. Yeah, all these are Lionel.
That's
then I got this engine right here.
Oh, geez.
And then I got a whole bunch of track and a bunch of cars. But I noticed that like this one had a different type of hook on it and stuff.
Can you show us closer? Show us again.
Well, you can't see it because this is the part of the hook that goes on the coal car. But the coal car had like a really big, gigantic one. So I went online and I go, you know what? I'm going to see how old they are. And it turns out this one right here is from 1949.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were about 5-6 years old when that was.
I wasn't even yet. A wrinkle in my dad's underwear, and so this was and this was pretty cool. And they all run. All these trains run. And then this one's from the 70s, and then I have another one that's from 1950. But this one has smoke that comes out of the top, which is pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But see, this one's plastic from the 70s.
Okay.
This thing weighs about 90 pounds, and it's all metal.
Wow.
From the old days. So they're really cool. But this one takes a lot more juice to run than the other one does. So today I got a big transformer to run it, and I can't wait. When I get done here, I'm going to go over there and play with it and make my trains go around in circles. So
that is pretty cool.
Very excited. Yeah. So how about you? You got something going on there?
Okay. Well, as you know, or maybe you don't, but I'm from California. You know that. We've talked about that. And I lived my whole life there. And then we just moved to Bluffton, South Carolina, just in October. Okay. And so that's not very long ago. Talk about culture shock. Moving from California to South Carolina. They call this slow. It's actually called low country, but the nickname is slow country because it really is. But okay, so I digress here. So what's new with me? What's new with me is that we found a great church in Bluffton, South Carolina. It's called Cornerstone in Bluffton. And long story short, I'm in their worship team now. I'm in their band because I did that in California for 100 years. But I got to lead worship the other night, Wednesday, but also a couple of services on Sunday. They asked me to lead worship. So, okay, I'm going to share my screen real quickly, and I'll give you just a little hint of what we did there. See, there it is. Okay, there it is. All right, just a little.
Look at that. There's Dave doing his thing right there. Rock on, dude. Rock on.
So anyway, so that's just a little taste of what we did Sunday, and it was God got glory, I believe. We left it all on stage like we always try to do, but it's all about the Lord. So anyway,
Very cool.
amen on that. So I was really thrilled to do that. I'm very happy to be part of the worship band at Cornerstone. So
Yeah, it's good to find a church.
yeah, awesome. So anyway, so that's what's new with me, the newest thing.
All
And
right.
then unofficial sponsor for the week.
We have an unofficial sponsor for the week.
Yes, we do.
Craven Pretzel Slims. Craven Pretzel Slims. It's the original brand, and let's see what we got here. And they're no artificial flavors or preservatives, low in fat, and see the nutritional information to see if they're really telling the truth.
Very nice.
But on the back here, this is the best part because they're crunch. Wait, let's see what we got here. They're crunch into the irresistibly delicious.
But John, I think you know what I think our audience
wait, I'm not done. There's a big paragraph.
I know. But
taste of our thin and crispy baked pretzel slims, perfect for topping and dipping. Not toppings and dipping. Topping and dipping. Right there.
What I was going to say, John, I think it would be very special, and if you were to actually try one right now.
Oh, all right, I'll do that. Yeah, it can't be as bad as the dog food I ate the other time.
Well,
but there's a pretty big list of ingredients there for an all-natural, no artificial flavor group of people. Let's go in there. Let's dig into the bag and see what they got. Here we go. We're going to try that. Oh!
How's that working for you?
Oh, that's irresistibly delicious. Irresistibly. I can't.
You need a drink with that?
You know what? It's good. I wish I had a little something, some toppings and some dipping. That's what I wish I had. Because these are irresistibly delicious. All right, there we go.
Okay, that was pretty doggone incredible.
Yeah, they're good. That's good stuff right there. You can't go wrong with some some Craven. But we have them stored in a bunker in the bottom of a nondescript building in New York City, and we've got them held hostage. We got some good guys on today. Do we mention their names?
Okay. Wait a second. I got to do. Okay, tell me if you hear this.
I'm very excited about this.
Okay, that was our transition.
Oh yeah. Okay. You got to have the transition. There it is.
Okay, I had to have the transition. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're producing the show and hosting at the same time, so we got our hands full here, folks. Okay, all right. Okay, yes, we do have special guests tonight or today or whenever you're listening to this, and okay, here it is. Here's what we're talking about. Growing up in a family involved heavily in the entertainment industry, they've always been driven and eager to follow the same path. The Pratt brothers, yes, that's who's coming on today, folks. Sammy and Kyle believe that together as a team, they could entertain and spread happiness to families across Arizona by bedazzling their family's home in over 500,000 Christmas lights. You believe that, 500,000?
I believe it was probably more than 500,000.
It's like Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase, right?
Yeah.
He probably made him look bad.
You could see it during from space.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they quickly, it turned into a sensation in the neighborhood. So this tradition of decorating their home, it turned into something bigger than they ever even imagined, receiving national attention on ABC's Good Morning America. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me. And they eventually shut down the entire neighborhood because of the overwhelming crowds that came to check them out. You believe that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy that they shut down the whole neighborhood. In 2022, the brothers won the championship on ABC's hit television series, The Great Christmas Light Fight. So we're going to bring them on. Welcome, Sammy and Kyle.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome having you here. And hey, so tell us. Okay, I just kind of gave everybody a little bit of a background on what you guys did, but can you go into a little bit more detail? I mean, what caused you to really want to do the Christmas lights and just I mean, 500,000, all that? Whose idea was that? How did it all start?
Go ahead, Sam. I'll let you take it.
I mean, we grew up in a big family of six, and my parents on their honeymoon went to Disneyland for the first time. They've never been, and they fell in love with the place. And as they started having kids, it just turned into like a yearly tradition for them. So we grew up going to Disneyland every year during the holidays, and that was like our big family vacation. We wouldn't take trips anywhere else. We would just go there for a week at a time. And most of our friends and other family thought we were nuts for going there for a week, but it was just like a place where like we had our family time. And watched John many times there as a kid perform there.
As a kid,
And it was just like it was the one place that what Disneyland's designed to do, where we could escape the worries of the world, and that feeling kind of stuck with Kyle and I throughout high school and college. No matter what was going on, it was just like the place where we'd go and forget about everything else. And Kyle and I eventually decided we wanted to work there. And we decided to reach out to some of the Imagineers, who, as you guys know, are the engineers and the creative team that help build the theme parks. And they basically got back to us and told us, hey, like, we appreciate your guys' efforts in school, but we really want to see like a living, breathing resume. And so we decided, hey, let's try to put Christmas lights up at the house, maybe put some music to it, create a show, try to tell a story. And then we would send them yearly, almost like mixtapes. I felt like Eminem sending Dr. Dre mixtapes.
really?
We would send them yearly videos of the house, what we did, what we improved on, what we're adding next year. And doing that in hopes to go work there one day. We never thought it would explode into what it finally did at the end of the neighborhood road. But yeah, just year after year kept growing. And then in 2020, during COVID, everything was shut down and Disney wasn't hiring. And Kyle and I kind of relooked at what we were doing and thought, maybe once things start opening back up, this might be the perfect time to take this commercially and see if we can do it for real on a commercial basis, and see if we can welcome everyone. That way, the neighborhood didn't have to be shut down, and the city would be happy with us, and we could welcome everyone into a different kind of Christmas wonderland, as we call it. That's sort of the short Spark Notes version of it.
So, Kyle, did you have a lot of other people helping you, or was it just the two of you doing it, or what?
In the early, like when we started in 2015, the first time, we always decorate our house as kids, but 2015 was the first year where we're like, okay, let's advertise this as a show and computer program it. Sammy and I found our lanes really quick. Sammy was always better at the hardware and building stuff, and I was always better at the techie computer stuff. So we kind of divided and conquered. So I would say the years at the house, it was, with the help of our sister, mother, brothers, father, it was a whole family thing, but it was really just us at the house doing it. And then, of course, when we went commercially, you have a whole different team of people come in. But yeah, when we first started, it was just Sammy and I, and it taught. My dad's best lesson to us was we were both going to high school and college at the time, and our dad said, you can do whatever you want to the front yard, the backyard, have at it, but you're going to have to put every penny into it and earn the money to do it. So it made Sammy and I work twice as hard, and it taught us a great lesson. It's like we would work summer jobs, we would do landscaping in the summer in order to put on Christmas during the holiday season. So that was one of the best lessons our dad taught us. And, it really gave us some grit going into commercial. Commercial is a whole different business, but, it was an adventure getting, from just Sammy and I, and then now where it's like, it takes a whole village to do what we do now. So yeah, it's definitely 180 from where we started.
So how did you guys get hooked up with ABC? How'd that whole thing happen?
Over time, I think, Kyle kind of hit the nail on the head there, but we would really post a lot of stuff, and we
Okay.
really started to get into social media and trying to post like almost like DIY videos, how we were building stuff. Part of the joy of being in high school and college at the time is that, kind of really did have limited funds to do stuff. So we'd spend a lot of time like finding stuff on the side of the road. We spent a lot of time in Dollar Trees, 99-cent stores, whatever our neighbors were throwing away, and we would get crafty with it. And we would try to see what we could create out of it. We started posting a lot of those videos, and I think over time, with using different popular Christmas songs and different songs everyone loves from different Christmas movies, gained traction online and on YouTube that collected views, and through that, I think somehow ABC got a hold of it.
Okay.
They're pretty good at looking around the nation for trying to figure out what houses can compete on this TV show, and they reached out to us probably 3 or 4 years before we were on the TV show.
Oh,
And
really?
we, I don't know if it's a good stripe to wear in our sleeves, Kyle, but we were one of the first people to tell them, like, no, we don't want to be on the show. Like, we felt we weren't ready for it.
Really?
We were like, no, if we're going to compete, like, we want to make sure we're ready. So we had it in our back pocket. So 3 or 4 years passed, and then finally we got to a point right before we got sued by everyone. We're like, hey, this is the time to be on the TV show.
See, we're going to get sued. Let's put it on nationwide television.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how ABC got a hold of it.
Yeah, 2020 is when we were on Good Morning America, and we knew that if we did another full year at Christmas, that the neighbors were at their limit. They were not going to have it. So we're like, it's now or never. We got to be on this TV show.
Wow. Is that why you guys were getting sued, because of the neighbors? I mean,
yeah, there was definitely, it wasn't necessarily the lights or what we were putting up at the house. It was a traffic issue. Our street that we did it on at the time is about a mile long, and it's just a straight shot through. There's no turnoffs.
Okay.
So you get a couple tour buses, you get a couple limos down the road, becomes a hazard, especially if there's a medical emergency. So we understood it at the time. We're like, yeah, it's getting to a point where this is kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And now what do you now you're commercial. So where are you doing it now?
So now we're at.
Well,
yeah. In 2022 was our first year going commercial, and it was at a sports complex in Mesa. But then we relocated in 23 to Chandler, Arizona at Rawhide Western Town. And Rawhide Western Town, for Arizonans, it's a classic kind of iconic place. It's been here for decades. And I mean, I've had many of my early birthday parties there. So it's really cool. It kind of comes full circle that now I'm, shoving snow machines through the windows where I had my birthday cake once.
I've got a clip before we jump into the Mesa thing, because I've got a clip for both of those. But first of all, this is a clip from hold on one second here. I got to set this up. Takes just a second. But I've got a clip of your ABC deal here. Here we go. All right. You guys see that?
Yep.
To bake magic to make it life-size for us all to enjoy it.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. What? It's working! It's really working! Oh, yeah! Oh, yes! Wow! Look at this! It works! It totally worked! It happened! Look at this house! This is crazy! Wow! We are playing with fire in here! Yes! Wow!
I can't imagine why they were panicking.
I was going to say,
Looking back at this now, I totally understand why they were mad.
Oh my gosh!
That's crazy.
Look at the bubbles too. This is so great. The kids must go crazy with the bubble machines. Oh my gosh! And the candy canes and the gingerbread house. This is like
poor parents.
Yep, if you haven't seen it, there's no way you cannot love it.
Yeah, that was so good. Can we get in there and check it out? Okay, let's do it. Come on. See you guys. Merry Christmas. The house is just massive.
This is a 100-foot gingerbread house, and it's made out of thin plywood and pallets.
Look at this.
This is the middle centerpiece of the gingerbread house.
Gosh, it's so much bigger. Like when you get close to it.
We also really focused on detail. If you look at the candy cane stripes, you can see the fine lines of glitter, and the swirls are perfectly painted for those kids and families that when they come and see it, they can see the precise detail. It looks like a kid made a gingerbread.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Now you didn't get to see they had a ride that went through it. Like there's a ride that goes through all the different lands and stuff, which was that.
Yeah, that was kind of the big second reveal we had on the episode. It's kind of what Sammy was saying. We kept turning down the show until we felt like we were ready, and we wanted to bring the display to its fullest potential. So we didn't want to sign up to be on the show until we're like, what is something that's never been seen on the show before? Like, let's make a ride in our garage. So we asked our parents for permission to clear out the cars so we can throw thousands of marshmallows and peppermints in there. And it was kind of the second reveal when it came back from commercial break. Carter, the host of the show, was like, "Is that it?" We're like, "No, we got one more thing for you."
Oh, man.
And it was the big surprise.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Oh, geez.
So it was a fun it was a fun thing to film. I mean, that show we watched that show for years, and to film it was a dream come true. Win or lose, we were just happy to finally be on it because we watched that show for years.
How long did it take you to do that?
To put it up or to film?
No, to put the lights on and do the whole deal.
Oh man,
I mean, filming, the creation of it.
I mean, it's really no different from what we do now. I mean, right now, Sammy and I start building and planning stuff out in January to March commercially.
Yeah.
But that's because we have if you just scale it back, and it's just the two of us, we used to start January and March around the same time too. So we would get all of our plans early spring, we'd build during summer. And then in order to, not make the neighbors too angry, we would wait till the end of October to start putting stuff up. Wow. And then when it came, we always open on Black Friday. So whatever the day after Thanksgiving was, that's when we would open up. But for that year, we had to film a little bit early to get with ABC's filming schedule. So I think we filmed early November for that one. So
and we took that year. I mean, that was the only year we did the ride concept. So I mean, it took months to research and just develop a ride that could take people. And we thought, we're going to have a shot at ABC. Like the last thing you want is the judge to sit in the car and he goes, "Oh, it's not moving." It's like we didn't want that
to fall apart.
So that took some time to develop.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was I was impressed because I know you're going to show them in a minute. You're going to show them what they did at Rawhide, but at Rawhide they have and you'll see it in the video. But they have this thing I call it the Pratt Brothers Shrine, and it's just kind of that's what I used to call it. I'm going to go to the Pratt Brothers Shrine, but it's just goes through like a time line of going all the way through. To the president, and it super impressed me. I was super impressed. I don't know what to call it, where you get so excited and by looking at two young guys who start out and they have like their book there of how they plan things out, the steps that you guys took to do all the planning as kids. I can barely make a sandwich and get to work. And you guys are like, we're gonna blow up our house, and it was.
Your dad let you do that. That's amazing.
I talked to their mom, and she's like, I got a little worried when they were gonna drill into our rental home. I'm like, oh my god,
how did you covered it up pretty good when we left? But I mean. First off, that's a huge compliment coming from you because, I mean, Sammy and I, what we do now, I mean, our standard of what good family entertainment should be came from watching you for so many years at Disney.
God bless you.
Growing up with you. So, I mean, that's a huge compliment coming from you. Thank you. And the Pratt Brothers Shrine, Dare to Dream. It's an exhibit called Dare to Dream. And John's right. It goes through all the years of when we started in 2015 to now. And it kind of the whole purpose of that display is to have the next 7-year-old Sammy and 10-year-old Kyle walk through there, and they can see that Sammy and I are nothing special. We just had a passion and we followed it and we did whatever it took. And if we can go through all these steps and make a Christmas house out of junk we found on the side of the road, you can go home and do the same thing. So the whole purpose of that thing is to walk through and then walk out and quote, dare to dream and go try it yourself. So it's one of our favorite things there. It's that's the whole purpose of our display, is to inspire the next generation.
Yeah, it was super inspiring. I mean, I come home and I actually, my son was talking, he's starting a little business, and I go, dude, and I told him all about what you guys did, and it was so inspiring to me, because to see two young guys like that, not even thinking about, like I said, like how are you going to get this all up in a rental home, and your mom just going, yeah, I think she said they weren't taking drugs or anything, so right. I supported them. Yeah. But it was just the inventiveness, and then the car. I mean, you got to tell them how you made the car, because I was like, oh my God, how'd they even think of this? And it's just the way that you guys went through, the process you went through as young kids going, it's almost that nothing is impossible. All you got to do is dream it up and you can make it happen. And that was what so impressed me. It doesn't matter how old you are. It does. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you guys have a college degree and you walked out of there and you actually did something with it. You didn't you took that. Whether you had to, I bet whether you went to college or not, you probably would still be in the same place, because that's just the kind of guys you are. It was
Sammy and I always say that college, it's great, and we never knock college, but what college taught and school taught me the most is discipline. I always say grades don't determine your overall intelligence, because to be honest, in high school, I was a C student at best. I barely got through, and it's just because it's not because I don't think I wasn't intelligent. It's just that different people gravitate towards different things. If there was a class on Christmas and art design and color theory, I would have flew by that class with flying colors, but when it comes to chemistry, I don't know what the guy's saying, and I'm sure that can apply for everybody. Everybody has a different passion and drive. So college definitely taught us the discipline and grinding through the overall thing. But as far as the car, I give credit to Sammy on that one, because I feel like I came up, Sam, you can agree or disagree with the color scheme and the palette of it, but Sammy really was in the garage like a mad scientist in early February, March that year. He's like, Kyle, I got this idea, and he's like in there with wood glue all over his shirt, just looking crazy. I'm like, man, have you slept? And he's making all these designs and stuff. And Sammy's like, no, if we break apart an electric wheelchair, right, and we have the wheels flipped on its side, pinching a track, it can move on itself. And I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds good. Whatever you want to do. And lo and behold, Sammy got with a guy, and he welded this whole car together. I remember coming out to the backyard, and Sammy's like, he texted me. He's like, come to the backyard. And I see Sammy riding on this little prototype on our sports board. And I'm like, lo and behold, the kid did it. So, Sam, I'll let you explain on that. But I give credit to Sammy on the Sweetmobile.
Yeah, like the idea behind it was, I thought, okay, we're going on a TV show that's been around for 7, 8 years at the time. I thought, we're going to be competing with people that probably have triple, if not, 5 times the amount of property with lights. But I'm like, if we have a ride, something they've never seen, they're going to just refer to us, oh, that house with the ride. It's just going to stick with them. If Carter goes, the judge at the time sees 10 houses, eventually all the Christmas lights blend together. But he'll be like, yeah, but that one house had a ride. That was like where the idea came from. But yeah, I mean, it's not like you can just look up on YouTube how to build a ride in the backyard. So I just started looking around, seeing like what could hold people's weight, especially varying weight. Like what's something that's easily in the public that somebody can go buy that can hold varying weight. And I was like, oh, an electric wheelchair. What was hard about that is, at the time with Kyle and I being in college at the time, is that when we would research, we probably blew up 5 or 6 cars before we could test again. And then it wasn't like, hey, we know the problem, let's go buy it tomorrow. It would be like, hey, we blew up this car, we got to go make money now to go test it again. So it was like these big gaps. That's why we had to start so early. But long story short, eventually I figured out it was easier to have the 2 wheels, instead of being down on the ground pulling you, if they were pinching a track, and you had caster wheels, you could pull it could pull larger quantities of weight, and tested that, and it worked. And I would still say that when Carter wrote it on the TV show, it was still a prototype. I don't know if it was ever perfected. It worked. It worked just that one time, by the grace of God.
You can see my face in the episode when he gets in it. I'm like,
I was like, oh.
I Sammy, I'm like, is he gonna fall? And luckily he got through it with no problem.
How did you make the track?
The track, I started with I knew how to make the straights. I'm like 2x4 is easy. But I'm like, okay, now I need something to make the curve. So I started taking plywood and stripping it. And then I would wait for my parents to go to sleep. And I would sink the plywood in the pool and put tons of weight on it. So it was easy to bend. It was, moist. And I would take it out of the pool the next day and I would learn to bend it. And then I was like, oh, this is working. And so I bent it to create the same thickness of a 2x4. But then over time that would crack and the moisture would leave it. So we're like, okay, kind of had no idea what welding was. And we're like, hey, we got to learn to weld this track. And eventually learned how to use a pipe bender and learned how to weld. And kind of were out there in summer making the track and ended up working. Shot in the dark.
Tell us about Mesa, Arizona. Mesa, is that where it is?
Yeah, it was at a venue called Belbing Park. It was in Mesa. It's a big sports complex.
Is this where the show is that you're doing now?
No, it was where we were our first year before we relocated to Rawhide. Yeah.
Okay, so
and
in Rawhide, you're doing this big extravaganza thing, right?
Right.
Okay, let me show that clip really quick here.
Go for it.
This is from your Facebook that you got going on. Hang on one second. I got to share my screen here.
It's a little something from the Facebooks.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Oh,
You're on again.
the shrine.
There it is.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, if you would have told Sammy and I that is what it would become in 2015, I would have said, "You're nuts."
I would have laughed.
Okay, so you went from your house that you decorated for years. You do the ABC show, you win that, and then you start a show. You went from Mesa to Rawhide,
Correct.
right? I've got it right. Okay.
Well, yeah, but wait, you got to tell them the Mesa story. Was it Mesa or was it at Rawhide the big?
Oh, Mesa. Yeah, Mesa. So the way that came about is one of the people who was with the Mesa property came to our house in 2020 when we were having all these issues with the city and stuff. And it went on Good Morning America. And they're like, we got to go check this place out. I remember they came over and they're like, would you ever consider going commercial? We're like, no, because that was before we filmed for the TV show. And that was our main goal at the time. But then once the TV show ended, we're like, okay, if this goes on ABC and goes national, our house is going to get flooded. So this seems like the good point to close a chapter on the house and open a new chapter on a different venture, which is commercial. So we got in touch with that guy who came out in 2020, and he's like, yeah, I got this new property out in Mesa. But the only problem is that, there's no buildings to really decorate or anything. But there's land. And we're like, okay, let's go check it out. And Sammy and I get out there, and it's about, I don't know how many acres, but it was just acres of flat dirt. And Sammy and I are like, if Sammy can sink plywood in a pool and figure out a car, I'm sure we can try to figure this one out too. So the hard part about that is because there's no plumbing, there's no electricity, there's no parking. It's all on dirt. And it was a new complex at the time. It was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So we're like, Sammy and I's motto at Pratt Brothers, we just roll the dice. So we're like, let's try it. And so our concept was, how do we make infrastructure for cheap and to get it up and make a good event? So we got a bunch of shipping containers and just empty shipping containers. We stacked them on each other. and we kind of made a little mini street or main street or town, and we took the shipping containers, we put coroplast, which is kind of what those political signs are made out of on the road, that type of plastic. And we skinned all the shipping containers in them and made it look like, a building with windows and bookstore and coffee shop, and we put lights on it. And at the end of the day, when the lights turned on, it was a really beautiful overall picture. But the problem is you can make it look great, but if you don't have bathrooms, if you don't have electrical, if you don't have parking, it gets rough. I mean, families like, mothers with children, they got to have the changing station.
Yeah.
People with wheelchairs, it's hard to get around on soft dirt. It's muddy, it's dusty. And with portable generators everywhere, you're relying on portable power that you don't know if it's going to go out in the middle of the night. So it was a challenge, but I always say it's a blessing in disguise, and Sammy can say otherwise, that I'd rather face those really hard challenges the first year, because the second year when we moved to Rawhide, I'm like, I know everything not to do now. I know how to make a good event and what people do want. So when we went into Rawhide, they had these buildings, they had infrastructure, plumbing, power, and everything. But besides that, I felt like Sammy and I got the biggest challenges the first year, and we knew how to go into Rawhide to make the event we really imagined from the start. And we were really grateful for the first year, but challenges make you stronger and thicker. And Sam, if you want to add to that, but that's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kyle and I we designed a bunch of cool stuff at the house. We're able to kind of control everything from the top down. When we went commercial, the location we're at was tough. Building on dirt was tough, definitely. But just the learning curve of commercial. I mean, now we have a full blown business. There's insurance, there's permits. We're managing 50 to 100 people below us. Kind of never managed anyone. And we didn't have that corporate experience that we were hoping to get at Disney. There's fire plants, there's EMS plants, there's security, there's the bathrooms, there's plumbing, there's all there. It was so new at the time. And then on the creative process, we learned that, a ride in your garage is impressive because it's at a house, but you mimic that same thing on a commercial property and you're going against, commercial displays that have been around for 30 years. It looks like nothing. It was a huge learning curve. And we started building on that property in May. Our company was newly formed that February. I mean, we were running against the clock and not only trying to start a business to bring in cash flow to keep this thing going, but also trying to design on a dirt lot, put up a makeshift circus. So it was definitely a learning curve, but the best learning curve ever. And it really opened up the gate for knowledge that kind of received that year. And then when we finally did move to Chandler or Rawhide, we kind of knew okay, here's what we're going to do that's different. We had a year under our belt, and we took that knowledge and made what is at Rawhide currently even better.
So how long you been at Rawhide now?
This is going to be our third year at Rawhide. So we moved there in summer of 2023.
Okay. So you're going to do it again this coming year?
Yes.
I would imagine. Do you have, so is there another plan beyond that, or is that where we're going for a while? You guys going to open up your own theme park or something?
That's the plan. I mean, kind of are not shy to say. I mean, we've said it all along. Our end goal is a theme park in Arizona, and to have something that's year round. Maybe closes in the summertime, just like how theme parks on the East Coast close during the snow. We close during June, July, August. But that's definitely our end goal.
Wow.
That's the 10-year plan.
Wow.
That's what's so impressive about you guys. I mean, that first year, I remember you were telling me about there's a big flood that closed you down for a while. And I mean, all the things that the first part is you don't even think about, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should we not? Maybe not. It's just like, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And you come up with a way to make it happen rather than all the things you can't do. You just go, we'll either figure it out or learn it. And that's what's so impressive, is that you just keep pushing forward with a dream. And that's what is really inspiring about the two of you guys, because you're young. I mean, I'm an old dude. You're young enough to be my sons. And it's impressive to see you guys just go, nope, this is what we want to do. And every step you take it, and and it's super impressive to see how you deal. And I know it's not easy. I know none of it is easy, but the fact that you're willing to do the hard things, and there's actually a book called Do the Hard Things. I think it's written by 2 homeschool kids, I think. But the idea that you guys just go ahead and try the hard things and do it and have become successful along the way, even through all the hard stuff, is just really, really impressive. And that's what I love about that story, is that it doesn't matter how old you are.
Thank you.
And that means a lot. Thank you. And Sammy and I think we can both agree that there's this quote that's like, I'd rather lay my head on the pillow at night and knowing I tried and failed than laying my head on the pillow at night and not trying and wondering what if. Wow. So Sammy and I would rather try something and, go, you know what, that didn't work, but at least I tried it, than to sit back and be like, yeah, but what if I tried that? Take the risk, because you never know if it'll work out or not. Don't be afraid to fail, because failure is how you grow and you learn.
Exactly that.
And John, you brought up Dare to Dream at one point, like the whole kind of like the backstory about it. Piggyback on what Kyle just said is that, being such a big family in Disney, I would say like the one flaw when we were kids was when you go in there, you see this massive theme park, you see a statue of Walt Disney, and you're like, oh my, like this is impossible. Like, how did he get here? It's almost like he's like worshipped as like a god now to kids. Like people forget there's a human there. But we had the privilege of going to the Walt Disney Family Museum up in San Francisco, and they'd show you just step by step by step, year after year after year, how he got to that point, and showed his shortcomings, how he struggled with his mental health, his family. And that like stuck with Kana. Like there was some inspiration. They're like, oh, it wasn't just like he soared to this level and boom, here's Disneyland, here's Disney World. There was a lot of struggles along the way. And Kana, it really resonated with us. And we wanted to put that same kind of message in Dare to Dream. Like, if you look at the whole mountain, it's like, oh, it's impossible to climb. But you look at your next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Like you start going place, you realize you're like, oh my gosh, like I got to the part where I never thought I was going to get to just by looking at the next step. And that's something that just really stuck with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool, and that's what I loved about that. I call it the shrine because I couldn't remember what it was, anyways. But that's what I loved about walking through there, and it really is inspiring because. You even have a letter from the neighbors telling you what you had to do to be on NBC or to be on ABC, which was pretty. I mean, it's a pretty incredible thing where they had to get, you had to get police and road, all of the stuff you had to do. You had to pay for it all out of your own pocket. They held the show over your head as a hostage. Do it or you don't get to do this thing. Yep. And I just thought, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to take you to court. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're just going to get it done and get on television. And it's just this drive. And it was so great to see that in young kids like this, to see what you guys have accomplished in that time period. I mean, really going from the last time 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, I guess, from the time you did the ABC show to you going to Rawhide, being in third year in Rawhide. That's an impressive, just moving. And I know you've had problems, and I know, it's hard, and, there's all kinds of things that go with all that. But the fact that you guys just take it in stride.
Very impressive. How do they check you guys out if they want to, Facebook or website, or tell us about that. Do you have a website?
Yeah,
do you have Facebook?
We have a website, PrattBrothersChristmas.com.
Pratt Brothers Christmas.
Our Facebook and Instagram is Pratt Brothers Christmas.
Okay.
It's kind of universal on all platforms. So they can just look up Pratt Brothers Christmas, and I'm sure you'll find Sammy and I's mug somewhere.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for being on the show today. We really appreciate it, and it was awesome having you guys. John used the right word, very impressive, and that's exactly what I was thinking too. But you guys are an inspiration to us and to, I'm sure, everybody that's watching this, and we really appreciate you being on the show. And when we sign off here, don't go anywhere, just hang on. But we're gonna wrap it up right now. And
for you people out there in TV land, if you have a chance to go to Arizona and see this crazy thing, you've got to go. It's fun, it's crazy, and it's super impressive. So just go, have a nice time with your family. Tell them I sent you. They'll give you a good seat.
There it is, right there. Birthday music. Hey, the Pratt Brothers are grooving with us. It's a wrap, episode 10.